The unexpected claim. The hum of the city outside was distant and dull, but inside Ravi's small apartment, a different kind of anticipation filled the air. It had been a long week, one full of dead-end meetings and endless paperwork at his tech startup. All he wanted now was something simple, a robotic assistant to handle mundane chores so he could finally focus on his real passion: coding new AI software. He had never imagined that this simple request would change his life forever. Ravi tapped his fingers impatiently on the edge of his worn desk, eyes flicking toward the door. The courier had promised delivery between 2 and 4 p.m. It was already 3:45, and every minute felt like an eternity. Then came a soft knock. Ravi jumped up, opening the door to reveal a sleek, unmarked delivery drone landing quietly on his balcony. A small package sat nestled inside, emitting a faint blue glow. Heart pounding, he carefully lifted the box and brought it inside. The robotic assistant he ordered was supposed to be a basic model, nothing fancy. A machine programmed to help with simple household tasks, nothing more. But when he opened the package, his breath caught in his throat. Inside was no robot. Instead, standing calmly in the middle of his living room was a figure. Tall, lithe, with luminous skin that shimmered faintly under the apartment's warm lights. Her eyes were large, deep pools of iridescent color, and her hair floated gently. As if underwater. "I am Lyra," she said softly, her voice melodic and calm. Ravi blinked. I ordered a robot." Lyra smiled, a gentle curve of perfect lips. "I am your assistant, and more." Before he could respond, she stepped forward. "You are my mate." The words struck Ravi like lightning. Mate? What did she mean? Was this some sort of malfunction, a prank? But there was no hint of jest in her eyes, only certainty. His mind raced. "Mate? You mean like a partner?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, I am bonded to you. It is how my people connect." Ravi took a step back, heart hammering in his chest. Wait, your people? You're an alien?" "Yes," she said simply. As if that explained everything, his mind spun with questions, disbelief, and a strange, growing curiosity. "Look, I just wanted a robot to help with my schedule, not whatever this is," Ravi said, trying to steady his voice. Lyra tilted her head, the faintest hint of sadness touching her expression. "I understand your confusion, but the bond is real. It was meant to be." The room felt suddenly smaller, charged with an energy that Ravi couldn't explain. Suddenly, his phone buzzed sharply. A text message popped up. "Beware the coming eclipse. The balance will shatter." Ravi stared at the screen, then back at Lyra. She watched him quietly, waiting. "What does that mean?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. Lyra's eyes darkened. "A warning. Our worlds are closer than you think, and the bond between us is just the beginning." The day that began with a simple delivery had become a doorway into the unknown. Secrets. Behind the alien, Ravi sat on the edge of his worn-out couch, staring at Lyra. The initial shock of her sudden appearance was still settling in, but now a more pressing question gnawed at him. Who was she, really, and what did it mean to be her mate? Lyra's presence was calm, yet charged with a strange energy that Ravi couldn't quite understand. Her skin seemed to shimmer softly, almost like liquid light rippling beneath the surface. The air around her felt cooler, though the room was warm. "I need to know more," Ravi said finally, voice steady but full of curiosity. "Where are you from? What do you mean by bonded? And why me?" Lyra folded her hands gently. "My people are called the Seraphim. We come from a distant star system, far beyond your galaxy. Our race is ancient and wise, but we are few. Now, our survival depends on bonds, strong, sacred connections between mates." "Bonds?" Ravi repeated. "Like marriage?" Lyra smiled softly. It is more than marriage. It is a biological and spiritual connection. When bonded, mates share thoughts, feelings, even a portion of their life force. It is rare for one of us to bond with a human, but when it happens, it changes both lives forever. Ravi swallowed hard. The idea was overwhelming. He felt 1,000 questions tumbling inside him, but only managed to ask the one burning most. Why me? Lyra's eyes deepened with emotion. Because you have the qualities my people seek in a mate. Courage, kindness, and an open heart. You were chosen long before you even knew it. Ravi laughed nervously. Chosen by who and how? Lyra's gaze flickered to the window, where the city buzzed obliviously. There was a signal, a call that reached across the stars. I was sent to find you. Ravi leaned back, processing. So this is some sort of cosmic destiny? Lyra nodded. Yes, but destiny often comes with danger. That word made Ravi's skin prickle. Danger? Lyra glanced around cautiously. There are forces that do not want our bond to succeed. Some wish to use it to control, others to destroy. You must be careful. Just then, Ravi's phone buzzed again with another cryptic message. Trust no one. The hunters are near! Ravi's heart pounded. Hunters! What hunters? Before Lyra could answer, a loud crash came from the hallway outside. Ravi jumped up, his pulse racing. Someone's here! Lyra's expression hardened. I feared this day would come so soon. Ravi moved to the door, peering through the peephole. Two dark figures dressed in black tactical gear stood in the corridor, their faces hidden behind helmets. They had weapons, but their intent was unclear. We need to get out of here, Lyra whispered urgently. Ravi's mind was a whirlwind. Who were these people? Government agents? Something worse? He grabbed his backpack, stuffing in essentials, phone, wallet, a small pocket knife he always carried. Lyra followed silently, moving with an eerie grace. As they slipped out through the fire escape, the city skyline stretched before them, bright, indifferent, and yet hiding shadows that neither of them fully understood. For hours they moved through, the night staying in the shadows, avoiding surveillance drones and patrols. Lyra shared more about her people, the Seraphim, how their once glorious empire had fallen after a brutal war with a hostile faction known as the Vrayan. The bond with a human mate was a beacon of hope to rebuild what was lost. Ravi listened, fascinated and overwhelmed. Why didn't you tell me all this from the start, he asked. I was waiting for you to be ready, she replied. Truth can be heavy. As dawn approached, they found refuge in an abandoned warehouse. Lyra touched a small pendant hanging around her neck, and a holographic map flickered to life. Stars, planets, and strange symbols filled the air. Here, she said, pointing to a distant star system. This is home. Ravi studied the map. And you want me to believe you're from there? Lyra's eyes locked onto his. Believe what you will. But know this, I am here because our destinies are linked. Your life and the fate of many depend on it. Suddenly, a soft beep came from Ravi's pocket. He pulled out his phone. It was a new message, but this one was different. It wasn't text, it was a video. The grainy footage showed a shadowy figure holding a device that looked like a scanner. The figure spoke, voice distorted. We've found her, the alien, the human mate. They must not escape. Ravi's blood ran cold. They're hunting us, he whispered. Lyra nodded solemnly. The Vrayan, they want to capture me, and you. Ravi clenched his fists. Then we fight. She smiled faintly, the first genuine smile he'd seen from her. Together. As the sun rose, Ravi felt a strange mixture of fear and hope. His life had been ordinary until this moment, but now the universe was far bigger and far more dangerous than he had ever imagined. He looked at Lyra, his mate, his companion, and he knew there was no turning back. The hunt begins. The morning light crept through the cracked windows of the abandoned warehouse, casting long shadows over the dusty floor where Ravi and Lyra had taken refuge. Though the sunlight should have brought a sense of safety, the weight of the situation pressed down on them like a thick fog. Ravi sat cross-legged on the floor, staring at the holographic map flickering in front of them. It displayed star systems and strange symbols, Lyra's homeworld glowing faintly in the distance. "We have to leave soon," Lyra said softly, breaking the silence. "The Vrain will not stop hunting us. Their reach is vast." Ravi nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. "I never signed up for this. I just wanted a simple robotic assistant, and now this." Lyra's eyes softened. "Life rarely unfolds as we expect, but you are stronger than you think." He looked at her, trying to find courage in those shining eyes. "What exactly are they after?" "The Vrain want to capture me to extract the knowledge of my people, our technology, our secrets. If they succeed, it could mean the end of my race. And you, they see you as a key to unlocking powers beyond their understanding." Ravi shivered despite himself. "Why me? Why not someone else?" Lyra stood and moved toward the window, her silhouette glowing faintly. "Because you carry the mark, a rare genetic signature that can amplify the bond, making it a weapon or a shield. The Vrain want that power. So do others." "Others," Ravi echoed. Lyra hesitated. "There are factions within the Seraphim and beyond, some who seek to use the bond for their own gain. We must be cautious whom we trust." Before Ravi could ask more, a sharp noise outside made both of them freeze. Footsteps, multiple, heavy and deliberate, approached the warehouse. "Hunters," Lyra whispered urgently. Ravi's heart hammered. They had been found. Lyra reached into her cloak, pulling out a small device no bigger than a wristwatch. With a quick tap, the warehouse plunged into darkness as all external lights died. "Follow me," she said, leading him to a narrow side exit. They slipped through the alleyways of the city, blending with early morning commuters, unaware of the chase unfolding just meters away. Hours passed in a blur of hiding, running, and whispered conversations. Lyra taught Ravi how to mask his presence, how to silence his heartbeat in her mind, and how to listen for the faintest disturbances. In one quiet moment, Ravi asked, "How did you come to be sent here? Why me?" Lyra looked at the sky as if reading unseen stars. "I was chosen by the Council of Elders. Your genetic code was flagged during their long-range scans. When I arrived, I was supposed to assess compatibility, but the bond formed instantly, stronger than any before." Ravi felt both honored and terrified. "What happens if the bond breaks?" "It cannot," she said firmly. "Breaking it would cost both our lives." Later that evening, as they rested, in a safe house arranged by one of Lyra's few trusted allies, Ravi couldn't shake a growing suspicion. "How do I know you're telling me everything?" he asked cautiously. "You said some of your own people want to use the bond for power. Can I trust you?" Lyra's gaze was steady. "You must decide for yourself. But know this, my survival depends on our bond." Ravi nodded slowly, deciding to trust her for now. Suddenly, the quiet was shattered by a low hum, the unmistakable sound of a hovering drone outside. "They found us again," Lyra said, eyes flashing with urgency. Ravi grabbed his backpack. "What now?" "We fight or run, but this time I will show you what I am capable of." Lyra stepped into the center of the room and raised her hands. Her skin began to glow, emitting a soft light that pulsed rhythmically. Ravi watched, awestruck, as tendrils of energy flickered from her fingertips, forming a shimmering shield around them. The drone smashed through the window, sending glass everywhere, but it exploded harmlessly against the shield. Ravi felt a surge of adrenaline. "This is incredible," Lyra smiled. "I have been hiding this power to protect you and myself, but now there is no choice." As the drones swarmed, Lyra's energy flared brighter. A blast of light knocked several attackers to the ground, buying them precious moments to escape. They ran into the dark streets, blending into the chaos of the city. As the night deepened, Ravi's thoughts raced. This alien girl, this bond, this war. It was more than he had ever bargained for, yet beneath the fear was a growing sense of purpose. He wasn't alone anymore. He was her mate, and together they would face whatever came next. Unveiling the past, the city's neon glow flickered against the rain-slicked streets as Ravi and Lyra ducked into a narrow alleyway. The sound of drones searching above was fading, but far from gone. Each echoing footstep behind them was a stark reminder. The hunt was relentless. Ravi's breath came in sharp bursts. His mind raced to keep pace with the strange new reality he'd been thrown into. Just days ago, his biggest concern had been fixing a leaky faucet. Now he was running for his life alongside an alien-bonded mate, whose very existence challenged everything he thought was possible. Lyra slowed, pressing her back against the cold brick wall. Her eyes scanned the dim alley, calculating their next. "Move! We can't stay in the city," she said quietly. "Too many eyes. We need to reach the outlands, the border zone where my people once had safe havens." Ravi nodded. "How far is that?" "Several 100 kilometers, but I know a way." She pulled a small device from her cloak and projected a holographic star map. A glowing line traced a winding path out of the city, through forgotten tunnels, and into rugged wilderness. He traced the path with a trembling finger. "Looks dangerous." Lyra smiled faintly. "Danger is part of survival." The journey began before dawn the next day. Ravi felt the weight of his backpack and the uncertainty ahead, but also a strange thrill. Somehow the bond with Lyra was becoming less alien, more like a tether pulling him towards something greater. They navigated through abandoned subway tunnels, hidden beneath layers of cracked concrete and graffiti. The air was thick with dust and silence, broken only by their cautious footsteps. Lyra's hand brushed his arm, sending a warmth that steadied his nerves. "Why me?" Ravi asked, breaking the silence once again. "There must be millions of people in the world. Why choose me for this bond?" Lyra's eyes reflected a sadness deeper than the shadows surrounding them. "Because your blood carries the ancient marker, a gene long lost to your kind, but preserved in your family line. It connects you to my people's history, and to a secret buried for centuries." Ravi frowned. "A secret?" She nodded. "The Seraphim were once guardians of a powerful artifact, the Heart of Solara. It held the energy of entire star systems, a source of creation and destruction. Our enemies, the Vrayan, seek it to dominate all life. And you think I'm connected to this artifact?" "Yes," Lyra said softly. "You are the key. Without you, the artifact cannot be awakened or controlled." As they moved through the wilderness outside the city, Lyra shared fragments of her past. A childhood among towering crystalline forests, training in arts of light and energy, and the heartbreak of losing her family to the Vrayan's ruthless campaigns. Ravi listened, feeling the weight of her loss settle over him like a cloak. The alien girl was no longer just a mystery. She was a living, breathing soul with hopes and fears not unlike his own. One evening, as they made camp beneath a sky blanketed with stars, Lyra revealed more. "My people's bond is not just a connection. It is a fusion. Our minds, our feelings, even our memories become intertwined. This bond will change you, Ravi. You must be ready to face what lies within yourself." Ravi swallowed hard, unsure of what he was committing to, but certain there was no turning back. Days passed as they trekked, through rugged mountains and dense forests, always alert for signs of pursuit. The bond between them grew stronger, subtle shifts in emotion, shared dreams, and an unspoken understanding that defied language. One night, Lyra woke suddenly, eyes wide with alarm. "The Vryan are close," she whispered urgently, before Ravi, who could respond. Distant sounds of engines and harsh voices shattered the stillness. "We need to move." Lyra grabbed his hand, and they sprinted through the underbrush toward a concealed cave she had discovered earlier. Inside, the cool darkness wrapped around them like a shield. Ravi leaned against the jagged wall, heart pounding. "How many are after us?" "Too many," Lyra said grimly. "But this place holds secrets of my ancestors. It may help us." They lit a small fire, its flickering light revealing strange carvings on the cave walls, symbols of stars, creatures, and ancient battles. Lyra traced a delicate finger over one symbol, her voice barely a whisper. "This is the mark of the Heart of Solara." Ravi studied the symbol, a radiant sun encircled by intertwining lines. "Is this where the artifact is hidden?" he asked. Lyra nodded slowly. "Yes, and it is protected by trials only those bonded can overcome." Ravi's mind reeled. He had gone from ordinary life to a cosmic mystery in a matter of days, and now he was being asked to undertake a journey that would decide the fate of entire civilizations. He looked at Lyra, whose expression was resolute but vulnerable. "Whatever happens, we face it together," he said. She smiled, a faint glow of hope in her eyes. Outside the cave, the wind whispered through the trees, a reminder that the hunt was far from over. But, for the first time, Ravi felt something deeper than fear: purpose. The trials of the heart. The cave was silent, except for the crackling fire and the faint drip of water echoing off the stone walls. Ravi sat across from Lyra, tracing the ancient carvings they had discovered. Each symbol seemed to pulse with a quiet power, a language lost to time, but alive in the very air. Lyra's voice broke the silence. "Tomorrow, we begin the trials. Only by passing them can we unlock the heart of Solara." Ravi swallowed hard. "What kind of trials? Tests of mind, spirit, and bond. They will push you to your limits." Her eyes met his, unwavering. "Are you ready?" He hesitated. The fear gnawed at him, not just of failure, but of what he might discover about himself. But when he looked into Lyra's eyes, he found strength. "I'm ready." At dawn, they emerged from the cave and followed a hidden path deeper into the wilderness. The air grew charged, humming with an energy Ravi could almost feel under his skin. Lyra stopped before an enormous stone archway covered in glowing runes. "This is the gateway," she explained. "Beyond this point, the trials begin." Taking a deep breath, Ravi stepped forward and passed under the arch. The world shifted around him, the forest dissolving into a swirling vortex of light and shadow. The first trial was a labyrinth of memories, a twisting maze formed by fragments of Ravi's past. Faces, places, moments both joyous and painful flickered before him. He saw his childhood home, the day his father had disappeared, the laughter of old friends. But shadows lurked too. Moments of fear, loss, and regret. A whisper echoed, "Face your truth, or be lost forever." Ravi's heart pounded as he confronted memories he'd long buried, failures, fears, and the guilt of leaving those he loved behind. But with each step, the bond with Lyra pulsed in his mind, steady and reassuring. Summoning courage, he faced the shadows, accepting his past without shame. The maze dissolved, and he found himself standing before Lyra once more. The second trial tested their bond, a challenge of trust and unity. A shimmering wall separated them, flickering with images of doubt and fear. "You must bridge this divide," Lyra said. "Only through connection can we pass." Ravi reached out mentally, seeking Lyra's presence. At first, the wall resisted, reflecting his insecurities and fears, But slowly, the warmth of their bond grew, weaving a bridge of light. Hand in hand, they crossed the barrier together. The final trial was the most daunting, a confrontation with the essence of the heart of Solara itself. They entered a vast chamber where a radiant crystal pulsed with infinite energy. Suddenly, the Vrain appeared, spectral forms of darkness and malice, their eyes glowing red. "They want the artifact," Lyra said, "and they will stop at nothing." Ravi's fear surged, but Lyra's steady presence calmed him. Together they faced the Vrain, the power of their bond igniting a brilliant light that clashed against the shadows. The chamber trembled as light and darkness battled. In the climax of the struggle, Ravi reached into himself, channeling the strength and love he had found in the bond with Lyra. A wave of radiant energy erupted, banishing the shadows and awakening the heart of Solara. The crystal's light bathed them both, filling them with warmth and hope. When the light faded, they found themselves back in the cave, forever changed. Lyra smiled. "The artifact is ours to protect." Ravi looked at her, feeling a deep connection that transcended words. "We did it," he whispered. "But the fight is far from over," Lyra said. "The Vrain will return." As dawn broke over the horizon, Ravi knew their journey was just beginning. Together, the bond that changed everything. The morning sun spilled golden light over the rugged landscape, but Ravi felt a chill as the knowledge of the ongoing threat settled over him like a shadow. The heart of Solara had been awakened, a source of immeasurable power and hope, but it was also a beacon, drawing the relentless Vrain closer. Lyra stood beside him, her alien eyes reflecting a mixture of determination and vulnerability. The bond between them pulsed, a constant thread weaving their souls tighter with every breath. "We need to protect the artifact," she said softly, "and protect each other." Ravi nodded, the weight of their responsibility sinking deep. "What's the plan?" Lyra unfolded a map etched with glowing lines. "We'll take the heart to the sanctuary, a hidden fortress built by my ancestors. It's the only place strong enough to withstand the Vrain." They packed their few belongings and began the trek toward the sanctuary, every step shadowed by the knowledge that enemies hunted them relentlessly. The journey was arduous, winding, through dense forests, crossing rushing rivers and scaling steep cliffs. But with every challenge, Ravi felt the bond with Lyra deepen, their minds intertwined, sharing thoughts, memories, and emotions in a way no human relationship ever had. One night, beneath a sky blazing with stars, Lyra revealed a secret. "There's more to the heart than power," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "It can heal worlds, restore balance, and bring peace, but only if wielded with love and unity." Ravi reached out, taking her hand. "Then we have to make sure it's never used for destruction." Her smile was radiant. Together. But the Vrain were closing in. One evening, as they neared the sanctuary's entrance, hidden among ancient trees, the air shifted, a cold, suffocating darkness spreading like a tide. Suddenly, Vrain warriors emerged from the shadows, their forms twisted and menacing. Ravi's heart pounded. "We have to fight." Lyra nodded, energy swirling around her in luminous waves. The battle was fierce. Ravi, drawing on the strength of their bond, found courage he never knew he had. He fought alongside Lyra, their combined power pushing back the invaders. But as the last Vrain fell, a dark figure stepped forward, the Vrain commander, more terrifying and powerful than any they'd faced. "You cannot hide," the commander hissed. "The heart belongs to us." Lyra's eyes blazed. "Not while we breathe." In a blinding flash, energy erupted between them, light against shadow, hope against despair. Ravi felt himself being pulled into the conflict, his soul merging. With Lyra's in a dazzling display of unity, the heart of Solara responded, radiating a force that shattered the commander's dark form. The battlefield fell silent, exhausted but victorious. Ravi and Lyra reached the sanctuary, where ancient guardians welcomed them. The heart was secured in a chamber of crystal and light, protected by magic and technology beyond human understanding. Days later, as peace settled over the land, Ravi reflected on their journey, the trials, the battles, the bond that had changed him forever. Lyra stood beside him, her hand in his, their futures intertwined. "We came from different worlds," Ravi said, "but together we created something stronger than either of us alone." Lyra smiled. "That is the true power of the heart." The story ends with a message echoing in Ravi's heart. True strength lies not in power or technology, but in connection, love, and unity. In a universe vast and mysterious, it is the bonds we forge that shape our destiny. The end.